So I never would have imagined that the split for the Vision would have been this quick and would have happened this soon. But I guess, given the recent rumors that we've heard as far as last week, when there was rumors as far as like, hey, they're actively trying to change the creative aspect of many things on these programs because they know that these programs, they've been lacking something here or there as far as the creative direction goes. And I am still kind of, I don't know what to believe as far as this goes because I've heard things as far as like maybe Seth is actually legitimately hurt. Maybe they pivoted and they want to go a different direction. Or maybe this is all a ruse as well. You can't really knock that out of the question right now because how many times we've seen same sort of scenario play out, especially with Seth Rollins. If you remember the knee at Saturday night's main event, that whole the ruse of the century. But regardless, we got the turn here tonight by Braun Breaker against Seth Rollins, and he gave Bronson Reed sort of an ultimatum. He told him, hey, you're either with me or you're not, or you're with him. And then Bronson Reed immediately took the advantage, fucking tsunami'd Seth Rollins once again. Paul Heyman was kind of threatened at first by Braun Breaker, but eventually Paul Heyman gave in as well. And you see this visual of both Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman, and Bronson Reed standing tall over Seth Rollins, which right now I find kind of almost surprising because War Games is not that far away. It's literally a couple weeks away. And you would have suspected at the very least I suspected that they were going to have the Vision group, a heel Vision group against whoever the top baby faces are on both Raw and SmackDown. And I would have suspected that was the War Games match that was penciled in for this year. But now it looks like that may not be the case. Now it looks like they're actually going to... I don't know what they're going to do for War Games, to be honest. Maybe MFTs against the White Six or whatever. But as far as this goes, as far as the actual turn and everything else, I hope that they stick with this and this isn't just for a viral moment, because we know recently how WWE, they're so into creating these moments, and that's all they are, just moments, and then afterwards they can't really book to save their lives. Like case example, the John Cena heel turn. That John Cena heel turn was great during the actual heel turn itself, but the heel run, I can't say that many good things about it. But as far as this goes, I hope they stick to the plan. I hope they actually have a solid enough plan for what they want to do here with Braun and with Bronson Reed, because those two guys are obviously the two guys that are benefiting off of this the most, right? Especially Braun Breaker, because Braun Breaker, even tonight, he kind of showed that he is going to be the guy now taking over the Vision. And what does this mean for the Vision now? Are we going to see new potential members added into Braun Breaker's liking, because now he in a sense is the one who's controlling the entire Vision? But like I said, they kind of teased earlier in the show, because earlier in the show Seth Rollins kicked off the show and he said that he didn't need anybody to be Cody Rhodes. He said he didn't need Bronson Reed, he didn't need Braun Breaker or Paul Heyman. So they kind of already teased you with that earlier on in the show. But again, like I said, I would have never suspected that they would have done the turn here tonight. And they did the turn here after a triple threat match between LA Knight, CM Punk, and Jey Uso to determine the number one contender for Seth Rollins. Again, now what happens to that? Right now it's Seth Rollins against CM Punk for the millionth time in a row. What happens there? Which is why I'm saying, like, don't be so confident that this isn't a ruse, because they could literally just pull off a ruse and then we have a new Vision member added at Saturday night's main event. Now if Seth is actually injured, like for real, and he has to let go of the World Heavyweight Championship, I can think of two scenarios that we could possibly run here. Either Punk at some point ends up winning the World Heavyweight Championship, and then we could run, Punk having matches against Gunther, against Styles, whoever the case is, right? Or we could potentially have Braun Breaker win the World Heavyweight Championship, and then if Seth is actually injured, and when he eventually returns, he's going to be a massive babyface, and then you could run that whole story, Braun Breaker against Seth Rollins. But again, I don't know whether or not Seth is actually legitimately hurt. And one last thing before I leave here, I did not fully watch Raw here tonight or this morning, because Raw right now during the Australia tour is airing at 5 a.m. in the morning, and I am not going to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning to watch Raw. But one thing I did catch was the Dominic Mysterio Penta IC title match. So going into this, I knew 100% that Penta was not going to win. I knew it was going to be a win for Dominic here. We had Rusev, cause the outside distraction, and then Dominic took advantage. He used one of the hammers that they use at ringside to pick up the win here against Penta. And there has to be said something for as far as Penta goes, as far as like how. I'm not saying he's buried or anything, but like, he really hasn't been on the winning side of things recently, so I think they have to kind of switch that around. But also Dominic, right? A lot of people are expecting John Cena and Dominic at Survivor Series. Does John Cena actually win there for the IC title? I don't think he does, to be honest, because I think it's probably late in the game to give Cena a championship. But let's say Dominic does retain. Who does Dominic eventually drop that championship to? Because right now, and I love Dominic, but right now it feels like he's had that championship for about 6 months, ever since WrestleMania. And I couldn't really name something he's done with it. I mean, the only thing I could kind of name that he's done within the last couple of months is the whole AAA Mega Championship thing. But that's not even, the IC Championship. So, it kind of has to be said like, hey, what is the next potential move for the IC title? Who is the next potential winner of that championship to give it the aura, I guess you could say, that it rightfully deserves? But post your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of tonight's episode of Raw. Again, I really wanted to mainly here go over the whole Vision splitting up factor and what that potentially means going forward. But post your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of tonight's episode of Raw. And until next time, I will see all of you on the next one.